Hey Buns, so normally I like to make videos that are helpful, where I can give you some good advice about how to get around problems you might face in Final Fantasy XIV. But recently I have been grappling with the problem of trying to join an FC, like trying to find an FC that I would like to join. And now that I'm in this situation, I feel like the advice that I would normally give people is it's really hard for me to implement into my life. I just feel like I have a different perspective on things now. Okay, so normally, and if you watch the channel, you probably heard me say it time and time again, like, hey, if you're looking for an FC, all you have to do is head on down to the community finder and look for any FC. There's so many FCs on your server. You can join any FC and you can just get in it, join it. If you don't like it, leave and then join a new one. And if you don't like that one, leave and join a new one. It's no problem. There's so many choices for you. That's normally what I would say. Okay, I've said it a lot. But now that I have to do this seems a lot easier said than done, right? Like now I'm looking at the community finder and I almost feel like that seems like more hassle than just not joining any. I'm like trying to rationalize to myself, well, why the hell do I even want to join an FC? Because I'm looking at the community finder and I am overanalyzing FCs. I am like looking hard at the screenshots that people are posting and I'm like, are there not any other buddies in this FC? Or I'm reading the post and I'm like, is that an inside joke that they just said? Like, do they have a lot of inside jokes? And maybe they have all these inside jokes, so they're like really clicky, and so I wouldn't like fit. I don't know. And that's another one that's like, oh, well, here's like not a lot of active players in it, and so maybe it's really small and close knit, and so they wouldn't want me to join. Like, obviously, I'm gonna bring my buns. I'm gonna have my buns out. Like, which FC would let me have my buns out in it? Well, there probably are some. Those you'd have to find in the fellowship finder. We'll talk about it in a minute. But yeah, I see some that are like, oh, lots and lots of active members. This is a giant FC. And I'm like, well, if there's so many people, like, would it even really feel like an FC? Would it be like one of those massive guilds in WoW that you get invited to immediately when you make a character? It's like huge guilds and nobody knows each other and they're all just using the guild for the FC buffs and like it doesn't really feel like a community. And then there's some that look really promising. It's like, oh, we run lots of FC events and everybody can meet each other and hang out at our FC events. And I'm like, oh, well, that seems like pretty hands-on. You know, they've got a lot scheduled, a lot going on for their FC. They're interested in getting people to meet each other. That's great. But what if I just don't like feel like it one day? Like, what if they have an event and I don't really want to go or I'm busy? Like, am I going to be ostracized for that? Like, would it be seen as like, oh, she's antisocial. She doesn't want to take part of it. As you can see, like, obviously, there are a million different worries, concerns, and worst case scenarios that I'm imagining. I'm thinking back to the time I heard someone tell me one time that their FC leader forced everybody to wear a maid outfit and pose in front of the FC house for the picture that goes on the community finder website to advertise their FC. Everybody had to wear the outfit. Everybody had to have it dyed the same color. And this person that was telling this to me said, well, they didn't really want to wear the maid outfit and they didn't really want to be in the picture. And the FC leader like blew a gasket, like absolutely lost his mind because this person didn't want to go along with what he said. And obviously that's terrifying. I don't want to put myself into a situation like that. And there's no real way to know. There's no real way to know if you're going to end up in an FC where you have this megalomaniac FC leader. Or if you have a normal person, because usually people are quite nice when you meet them, and then later on, once they get a little bit more comfortable, you start to see that they have like this other side to them, and that's all of these prospects, all these different scenarios are absolutely scary, and I feel like it's hard. It's difficult to even give any a try. It's difficult to even take that step. I guess I had maybe wrongly thought that finding the right FC, this FC would just call to you almost serendipitously. It would be there for you, just like, you know, ask and it shall be given. I imagine, yes, universe, bring me the FC, and then a bunny boy would descend from the heavens, and like the light would be shining down on him, and he would say, Zeppelin, join us. Join us. You can do whatever you want here. But of course, that's not how this actually works. And it does take, I think, a fair bit of courage, maybe even a bit of recklessness to just join an EFC, see if you like it, and then leave, and then join another one. Because then I'm thinking, well, what if I do that, and then I become known as like the serial FC joiner, where like nobody would want me to end because they know I'm just gonna leave 5 minutes later. Like, that's not good either. You can build a reputation for yourself. Sometimes people think, oh, well, you're Zeppla, like you have YouTube, you have streaming, it shouldn't be any problem for you to find an FC. I'm surprised people haven't invited you to their FC. So far I had one person invite me to their group, to their FC, but they said their FC is really tiny. I'm considering it, but I was hoping like to maybe look at other potential possibilities too. Like, you know, look at the options and imagine what's going to be the best for me. Because actually, counter to what many people may think, having a large audience and being a streamer is something that many FCs do not really want. They don't really want that in their FC, and it's kind of understandable because they don't want their small close-knit FC to suddenly become, oh, that's the streamer's FC, right? They don't want their vibe or their culture to change because of a streamer or content creator joining that FC. And there are other content creators who have managed to work around this, or they have leadership for their FCs that are like all on board and are fully supportive and everybody's happy with it. But me, like, I don't know if I would feel comfortable joining an FC and then potentially changing the culture in a way that they might not be ready for, even if they invite me. I don't know if they're fully ready for that. So obviously I'm overthinking this, but maybe not. Maybe these are things that I need to keep in mind. So weirdly, in some ways, being a content creator has been a little bit isolating in the search for an FC. And these are just extra considerations that I have to have in mind. But all that aside, all this content creator stuff aside, I am now experiencing what it's really like for people that have often asked me for advice on how to join an FC, and I gave them the standard advice without actually being in their shoes. And now I have this different perspective, and I feel you. Like, I feel your pain. I understand, like, being paralyzed with the indecision and having all these worries, and I really just wanted to talk about it. So I don't know how helpful this is going to be, but I wanted to maybe validate some of the concerns that some of you have had when I gave my standard advice over the years. Because, I mean, I always had an FC, but I tried to run the channel FC for a while and ended up being just too unwieldy. I don't have time to run one. For people that are like, well, don't you just make your own FC? I tried that. It was very bad. I'm not a good FC leader. I don't have time to deal with it. Being an FC leader takes a tremendous amount of time and effort if you want it to be good. And I don't have that time, so it's just not something I can put on other people. And I would prefer to just, you know, join and be just another bun, right? So, lots to think about. Previously, like for the past year, I had pretty much just been sitting in a dead FC. That's what I've been doing for the past year. But with Endwalker coming out, and like something about maybe like how emotionally broken I got from Endwalker, that it made me want to join an FC because I need like shoulders to cry on, and like it just made me want to talk about everything that happened more with people every day in the FC chat. So that's where I am, and I just want to say, you know, people looking for FCs, I feel you, but there are things that the game makes harder. Okay, searching for the right one is hard enough, as we've been over, but the game itself makes this so much harder than it needs to be because of the lack of really good tools to use in game to either advertise your FC or search for an FC. It is like the system of looking for one or advertising your FC is complete shit. It is so bad. Like right now, people are using the party finder in the other tab if you're advertising or looking, and I imagine there's a lot of people, especially new players, who don't know to look there. And when you are doing that, you have to just wait. Like, you can't do anything. You can't join another party. You can't do instance content. You can just like do fate farming and crafting, I guess, until you're done advertising. And it's not good. There's the Fellowship Finder, but it's pretty much just a bulletin board. It is most helpful to think of it as a Discord link finder. So maybe if an FC, put their Discord link there, that could be helpful. I don't know if it's just something about Phoenix, but on my server, our Fellowship Finder is filled with kink groups. Like, I learned what male macro kink meant because I was looking for an FC in the Fellowship Finder. I didn't join anything. I didn't go to any link. I'm just searching through Fellowship Finder and I'm learning about all kinds of different kinks that people have because there's a fellowship for each one. It's all there. And that's fine. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not kink shaming. Like, whatever kink people have is fine. That's okay. And if they can use Fellowship Finder to fight each other, that's fantastic. But I'm just saying that's not, it's more, it's like Fetish Finder. That's not what I was there for, okay? I was not there for that. That's all I'm trying to say. I was there looking for FC. So, I mean, going through all of this, I just started asking myself, like, do I need an FC at all? Like, I'm convincing myself, the longer this process goes on, the more I'm convincing myself, I don't think I do. Like, maybe I don't. Okay, like, I have the Discord server. I have YouTube comments, chat. We have Twitch chat. We have the Discord server. Did I mention the Discord server? Static server. And for XP buffs, I have squadron manuals. I have squadron battle manuals. Don't need an FC for that. So probably wouldn't go to any events. But, I mean, it is nice to be invited. I guess what it really all comes down to is I want those speed boosts in the city. I want the speed boosts in the city. That's it. I mean, I want to be a little bit faster going from the Aetherite to the Market Board. Like the 5 steps I have to take, maybe I could take 3 steps instead. And that's more optimal. I really wish that I could wrap up this video with a pretty bow that's like, so I've learned from my journey that the best way to find an FC is to literally go to their FC house and go into their house and just wait inside until somebody says, hey, what are you doing in our house? And you're like, I live here already. And they're like, you're not in our FC. And you're like, what are you talking about? I'm totally in your FC. You could do, didn't George do that on Seinfeld one time where he just pretended to work there at a business, but he didn't really work there. He just said, well, I'll just pretend. Fake it till you make it, baby. And that's what I'll do. Anyway, I hope that in some way this video was enlightening for you, maybe relatable. If you're going through this, or if you have gone through this, if you have some words of encouragement, words of wisdom for me in the comments section below. If you like this video, consider supporting the channel on Patreon or on Twitch. You can also support the channel for free just by clicking that subscribe button or by sharing this video with your fellow Loperates. Maybe we'll just do a different one every time, right? Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!